What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a grayed out edition of Before the Battle, the Iowa version. As always, brought to you by Cornerstone Home Remodeling and the Barn Baseball and Softball Academy. I am Jeremy, the couch potato. Opposite side of the screen, we got Coach Slate, who is prepping to dethrone the Monarchs of Marysville. What is good, sir, before we dive into Iowa?
Oh, not much, man. Getting ready for big matchup with the Monarchs, like you said yesterday, or for tomorrow. We're excited about that. Anytime you play a wing T team, you gotta strap up the chin strap a little tighter. So we're ready to go. We had a good week of practice. Got to take in some Prexy soccer tonight, so that was fun.
Okay.
The ladies were up 3-1 at half when we took off. The girls were being a little crazy, but my wife being an alum and one of the top scorers in school history, she wanted to go support, and so we went down and watched, and it was good, man. It's always good to see the red and black, man. It puts a smile on my face every time.
Heck yeah, tried and true. Both of you guys are.
Yeah.
I been a low key week. Shout out new listener. I'm gonna leave this new listener unnamed, but this person has listened to 3 episodes. And I was dealing with something with them today and got asked, where's the new episode? Where's the pregame? So I was like, we got you tonight. It'll be ready for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obviously outside of the gray uniforms, which are one of my absolute favorites, Iowa, always a grind.
Yep.
Coming in at 3-1. And their only loss is to Iowa State on a last second 20 they lost 20-19 on a last second field goal. Big Ten play, they're 1-0, beat Minnesota 31-14. And Minnesota is not atrocious. And I'll just go ahead and hit this while we're talking about that part. We got asked, where do we anticipate Iowa finishing in the conference? I'm gonna put them like 5th or 6th, I think is fair. I didn't actually write this out, but OSU, Oregon, USC, Penn State, Illinois, and then that might be a good spot for Iowa.
I think
6th.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good spot. I'm looking up the conference standings right now. Indiana, 5-0 in the season.
Well, and
and so I think the Big Ten is honestly in a really good place this year. I mean, you're looking at Indiana, the team
Rutgers,
up north, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Rutgers, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, USC. I mean, all those teams are undefeated or have one loss, and so
right.
It's good. It bodes well for the conference. I could see them finishing out, like you said, in that 5th to 6th range. I think this is has potential to be a 9, possibly a double-digit win team. But I could see them winning, for sure 8 or 9 games, and every game with them is going to be a dogfight. Rutgers, man, Rutgers 4-0. Looking at this,
chopping wood.
Yeah, man. Greg Schiano. I'm glad he's back home, man. He needed to be back in college football. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I'd say in that 5th or 6th range. So they're going to be a tough team. They're going to play tough defense no matter what and be physical. So no matter who they play, it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously they are led by you said he's going to be 69, I think, before we came on.
Yeah, he's 69 years old.
The guy doesn't age. Still looks phenomenal. Fired his kid. I mean, he's ruthless like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really cool to see, though. You look at a program like Iowa. They're not a top tier program by any means, but historically, like, they have a great history. Hayden Fry. And then Ferentz has been there. I don't remember how many years, but it's been forever. As long as I can remember.
Yeah, so Coach Ferentz got there in 1999, and so I just got his bio pulled up. He came to Iowa after a stint in the NFL with the Browns and with the Ravens for from 96 to 98. So he was with the Browns when they left Cleveland and went to Baltimore. And so he stuck with the Modells and stayed there till 98 until he got the head coaching job at Iowa. One of the cool things I see right now is that he has got 199 wins as an Iowa Hawkeye. And so
200 ain't coming this week, Kirk.
Yeah. Oh, it's not coming this week, hopefully. But he's, inching close to being, I mean, that's phenomenal. 200 wins at one place. Like that is, that's longevity. That's culture. You don't get that far without being a good coach. And so I got a ton of respect for him. Looking at his overall rank, I mean, he's had overall record. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double-digit win seasons. He's won the Big Ten. It looks like he's won the Big Ten or had a share of the Big Ten championship 5 times. Been ranked in the AP top 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. So you're talking about a legend. I mean, let's be real about it. He is a true legend. Iowa's not an easy place to go win and recruit people to, even though I love the city of Des Moines. It's a beautiful city, but it's really tough to recruit kids to go out there. But every year he takes those underrated kids and, they come out ready to go. So Kirk Ferentz is going to have those guys ready to battle for sure on Saturday.
Absolutely. And how kind of what we're seeing at Ohio State, like looking through the staff, everybody was excited. Laurinaitis, Hartline, OG Walt, guys that are coming back home. Couple of names that jump out to me on their staff. Liddell Betts, running back, played in the league for the Redskins like 8 years. Just a bruiser. And that's kind of what their backs tend to be anyway. And then Abdul Hodge, that guy was a menace. He was a 3-time all Big Ten linebacker. He's coaching their fullbacks and tight ends.
Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of an ironic, kind of a flip, I guess. But, fullbacks and tight ends are the linebackers of the defense. I mean, I don't want to offend you, saying that as a linebackers coach. But they are, on offense, they are those guys who are going to smack you in the mouth, but they do have sneaky athleticism.
Yeah, and especially honestly with Iowa, they've pumped out some really phenomenal tight ends, and then the fullback is a true position for them. And so, to get somebody who had to take on a fullback on a regular basis, I mean, he knows what he's doing, and that's the cool thing about coaching, man. You may not have played the position, but you're just surrounded so much that you have a good idea what it takes. And then you got a guy like Kirk Ferentz, who's a legend when it comes to the offensive line game. And then, having fullbacks and tight ends, they go right along, they go hand in hand with the offensive line. So you get to learn from such an esteemed coach and Coach Ferentz. And so, it's pretty cool to see guys come back home and do the things that, they probably was their dream. And, we get the same thing with the Buckeyes. And so it's just cool, man. I think Iowa's got a really good culture. I've always been a fan of them from afar, just from a culture standpoint and getting the best out of their players.
Yeah, and, obviously we would be remiss if we didn't mention they have arguably one of the coolest traditions in college football.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter wave to the Children's Hospital. I drove through, or not through campus, but like you could see campus. We did some college visits in Iowa, and we went from Davenport to Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
And so it took us right, within distance of campus. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to go drive through it and see it, which is something I love to do when I am somewhere. And it's still, to this day, as much as it pains me to say it, Notre Dame is still the most beautiful campus I've ever driven through. But
it's not close. It's beautiful.
No, it's really not. And it's a cool blend of modern and nostalgia with what's there. It's kind of surreal though, because you hear the lore of Notre Dame, and then when you're staring at touchdown Jesus, it's like, this is real, y'all. So kind of by the numbers, Iowa is averaging 32 points a game right now, which might be a world record for them.
Yeah.
They're not normally a potent offense.
Yeah.
Giving up 13.8 on defense. On the defensive side of the ball, they definitely are susceptible to the pass.
Yeah.
They have allowed 843 yards through the air in 4 games, only 248 on the ground.
Yeah.
6 forced fumbles. They're not a big interception team. They've got 5, so they're averaging, over 1 a game though. Thing that stands out to me, they got 10 sacks and they've only allowed 4. But offensively, their identity is running the ball.
Yep.
They have ran for over 1,000 yards in 4 games and only thrown for 590.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I was listening to another Ohio State podcast and they said that Iowa is Michigan light. And, they're, to a certain extent, I kind of agree with that. They got the same mindset. They want to pound the football. And they have one of the best running backs in the country, and his name's Caleb Johnson. Is that right? Yeah.
From Ohio, Hamilton, Ohio.
He's from Ohio, so he's going to be playing in this game with a chip on his shoulder likely. But, yeah, they want to kind of bludgeon you and smash and just really get after your defensive line and wear you down. And so they're going to really try to get the run game going this week. It'll be interesting to see how the Buckeyes and what we do defensively in some different fronts we may try to run against them to really combat that and try to make I just forgot their quarterback's name.
Cade McNamara. Being Michigan light, I was saving that. But
so
I bet Michigan would take Cade McNamara over Alex Orji.
Oh, 100%. But I could see Ohio State really trying to load the box and force Cade to be the guy that beats you. They do have some skill guys that are solid, but their strength in the pass game is going to come from their tight ends, as it typically does on a regular basis every season. So it's going to be a good matchup for the Buckeyes, man. I think we're built for a team like this, and the defensive line is going to be tested for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because obviously, Iowa is going to want to run the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, you brought up Caleb Johnson. So we'll dive into their roster a little bit. Caleb Johnson leads the team in rushing, 685 yards, 9 touchdowns. Like you said, Hamilton, Ohio, kind of shot some bulletin board material out there this week with the whole I wouldn't have went to Ohio State even if they offered me. Key word in that sentence, Mr. Johnson, is if.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if not to knock the kid because I love it. I love that swagger. I love that energy. Yeah. They would have if they would. But look at the guys we've brought in, over these last 3-4 years. But yeah, so he's obviously their leader on offense. You hit on the tight end, another tie to Ohio. Luke Lachey, Columbus kid, the son of Jim Lachey, obviously everything at Ohio State, the voice of the Buckeyes. Paul Keels, his partner. Only 97 yards though so far.
Yeah,
but he's a blocker too. Like he is a stud. When we talked about a tight end that's going to hit you in the mouth, it's Luke Lachey.
Yep.
Leading wide receiver Jacob Gill, Northwestern transfer, has 145 yards this year. So again, how many games have Emeka and Jeremiah gone over 100 yards? And their leading receiver is 100 yards. Cade McNamara, like we said, quarterback, Michigan transfer, 147 yards a game, 3 touchdowns all year long in the air.
Yeah.
So I would assume this is a recipe for a lot of, 4-3, But what will be interesting to see is, does Kirk Ferentz attack the middle of those linebackers like we've thought of, we've talked about?
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to try to get his offensive line up to the second level for sure. I think, one thing that really stood out to me on film last week, watching the Michigan State game, is how well the Buckeyes adjusted in the second half. I think that the defensive line really played well, and we'll dive into some film a little bit just to give a quick rundown, just a few clips offensively and defensively here soon. But, I thought the defensive line did a really good job, and the defensive coaching staff did a great job of making adjustments and really putting pressure on Aiden Childs. and really slowing down the run game after not having the best start to the game, but they were able to still get stops. I could see the Buckeyes possibly having some different fronts, different big personnel packages where we do have all three linebackers out on the field. I do see us in a situation or two, maybe having, 5 true defensive linemen on the field as well. I do think the Buckeyes believe that they can play some good man coverage against these guys. And so there's some different ways that you can really attack this. And, I would love to see us, really get multiple with our fronts. I would love to see if Tyleek's not playing. I would love to see Caden McDonald get to start this week. I think he's going to have a huge impact on the game whether he's starting or whether he's a rotational guy. But if we get Tyleek back, that's going to help out a ton. We're going to need we're going to need Jack and JT to really show up for us, setting the edge and being physical. And then when we get into those passing situations, really putting a lot of pressure on Cade to go be a dude, and like we saw last week, if Aiden Childs could have continued to make the throws that he was making, you live with that and you adjust. And that's what the Buckeyes did. I really see the same mindset going into this game. But really got to really stop the run because they want to eat the clock up. They want to keep our offense off the field. And you do that by giving the ball to Caleb Johnson 25 plus times.
Yeah, for sure. And, you hit on that. They're averaging a little over 33 minutes a game time of possession. So they're, that's their MO. They're not going to run turbo. They're not going to run no huddle. They might still run plays in from the sideline, even with comms. It's just their thing. A couple other names that Buckeye fans that especially follow recruiting will know. Caleb Brown transferred from OSU. And then the big one is Xavier Nwampo. That kid is a stud.
Yeah.
Obviously Ohio State was very, very, very much in that recruitment. But he's an Iowa kid, chose to stay home.
Yep.
Defensively, though, they have a dude. Jay Higgins is a dude.
He's pretty good, man.
There's no other way to put it. We use words like menace, dog. Jay Higgins is all of those wrapped into one.
Yeah.
He's their leading tackler. Also has 2 picks, which I found, pretty interesting from the linebacker position. 5th-year senior out of Indianapolis, All-American. Phil Steele's Defensive Player of the Year preseason this year. He's got almost 300 tackles in his time there, and he didn't really play his first 2 years. Obviously, this dude is going to do everything in his power to wreak havoc. And, so obviously we're going to have to try to find a way to keep him away from the ball. What does having a dude like that in the middle of that defense do for you?
Yeah, man, it really does so much to have somebody as talented as Higgins is. I watched their Iowa State game pretty close. I've told a bunch of people this. If I wasn't a Buckeye fan, I'd be a Cyclone fan just because of how much I respect Matt Campbell. And, that dude was all over the field, making play after play after play. And, what that does for you, it just gives you confidence to know that your second level is really going to be taken care of. And you're talking about having a true quarterback on the defensive side of the ball, making the adjustments up front, making sure the defensive line is aligned correctly. And, that goes such a long way to having that confidence to have an extension of the coaching staff on the field. And then to top that off, he's a sideline to sideline guy who's going to give you absolutely everything he has every single snap. And so you feed off of that. Your defense feeds off of that energy. When he makes a play, it is something that you get really pumped up about because it's your leader. And, what he does is really special to see. He's a guy that you're going to have to drag off the field, even if he's injured. He's just one of those really, in my opinion, one of those throwback linebackers. And he's a perfect fit for a program like Iowa. And he just makes play after play. He's going to really try to wreak havoc on our 2 running backs, and they like to blitz him a little bit too. And he's a pretty solid blitzer. And so the offensive line better come ready to go because this guy is going to make you work. And, having a guy like that in the middle is a complete game changer.
For sure. And that's what Ohio State's trying to, Cody Simon is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But Jay Higgins is the best linebacker in the game. I mean, let's call it, call it what it is. With that, obviously, like we said, Iowa is going to run the ball, eat the clock, limit possessions. And then obviously, their defense is going to hopefully be able to bend but not break, as cliche as that sounds.
Yeah.
The Buckeyes, they're going to want to score because Iowa is not built to be in a shootout, to be a play from behind, to have to beat you throwing the ball.
Yeah.
If Ohio State gets up 2 scores, this game could potentially be over.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think going into this week, and you kind of saw it with Michigan State, I think the game plan is obviously going to be able to run the ball. But I think when we run the ball, we're going to maybe try to get it out on the edges a little bit more to kind of soften up the middle of the defense so we can get some, inside runs as well. The other thing I think we're going to try to do is really try to hurt them with the quick screen game and let our athletes be dudes. Iowa lost a lot in that secondary. I know they have Xavier Nwampa, but they lost Cooper DeJean, who was, a second or third round pick, I think, and he's an absolute stud. So I could see the Buckeyes really trying to get the ball out in space quick, and letting our dudes go make plays. I do think you're going to see some shots down the field this week because I really believe the Buckeyes can really push it. But like you said, I think Michigan State's going to kind of really adopt the bend but don't break, try to limit the big play. But I think the Buckeyes will be able to do a ton of excited, man. I think this is a good chess match and a good opportunity for Chip Kelly to really show, how much of a stud of an OC he is and how much he can expand the run game. And so it'll be interesting to see what we come out in and start the game.
Yeah, and for sure. I mean, we do have an athlete advantage. There's no denying that. And then, obviously we got to stay healthy because next week's the game. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation though.
Yep.
Obviously Ohio State needs to stop the run, which we up to this point have been able to do. You hit on it, changing up fronts, Ohio State and a bear. If we come out in a bear, who would have ever thought we would see Ohio State run a bear front?
Yeah, I'd love to see us in a bear front.
But you almost, A, you have the personnel, and B, they're going to come out in a lot of, 22 personnel. I mean, they're going to see multiple, tight ends, and you're going to see probably some. Obviously, Ferentz will bring out some trickeration, but you may see unbalanced line type stuff. Anything he can come up with to give his run game an advantage to where Caleb Johnson has a chance to make a play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're gonna try to do whatever you can to make sure that he's able to get loose. You're gonna see some unbalanced formations. You're gonna see 4 or 5 man surfaces. There's gonna be a lot of different things that you're gonna see to really try to gain advantage and pick up on some angles. I call it the geometry of football. People underestimate the power of angles when it comes to the game of football, but when it comes to the offensive line, you want to find the advantage with the angles. When it comes to defense, you want to find the advantage with our pursuit angles and different things like that. The defensive backs want to find the advantage with their breaks and the angles, 45, 90, 135, 180. Like you're really focused on the geometry of the game, and the offensive line and what you can do with them with unbalanced formations really allows you to get an advantage when it comes to the geometry of the football game. And so, they're going to definitely try to do that, try to catch us slipping. I guarantee you we see a few unbalanced formations, and, those are things that either force the defense to call timeout or they don't adjust and you get a big play. And so the Buckeyes really need to be ready, and the linebackers really need to have their eyes up and, counting the number of guys they got to their side, because we're going to see some things that really get Caleb Johnson loose.
Yeah, absolutely. Buckeyes are favored by 19.5.
Yeah.
Pretty fair number, I think.
I think so.
Given the variables. Obviously if Iowa can put together a couple drives and eliminate an Ohio State possession each half, then, now your ability to score has gone down. I have got it, before we dive into some film, I've got it Ohio State 38-13.
All right. I think that's a fair number. We're pretty close. I've got it 34-14 for the Buckeyes. I think, people are going to be like, oh, we should score, 40, 50 plus. Listen, if this offense is scoring 35 plus points a game, we're going to be perfectly fine. That means we've got the run game going, and we're being efficient, and that's okay. The whole goal for Iowa is going to be able to limit possessions for the Buckeyes. And so we're going to need some big plays to happen to really, push the envelope and really get out on them early. But, because of that mindset that I was likely going to have, it's really going to, might slow us down a little bit. So I got us originally I had it 31-14, but I wanted to throw some love to my guy, Coach Keys, and the field goal kicker. So I switched it up to 34-14.
I like it though. I like it.
Yeah.
So obviously, that would be a cover, and Jeremiah Smith scores a touchdown.
Yes. Yeah.
I think at this point that's almost a given. So before we came on the air, you were talking about how dominant the defense was.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a similar situation this week where Buckeye fans may get a little restless in the first half, and in the second half they're going to be very much more happy. So you were able to break down the film, look at it this week. What'd you see?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's a lot of things, and we talked about it, on our weekly show. Like, there are things you can be upset about, but the Buckeyes executed their game plan last week, and you could tell what Coach Knowles was trying to do. We're trying to make Aiden Childs beat us, and if he can go do that, then we can adjust and we'll do what we need to do. And Aiden Childs threw the best he's thrown all season long, right? He was a 53% completion percentage guy, and he came out against the Buckeyes and he was completing, 70+% to start the game. And, that was not his normal, and he came out and he played well. But you saw the Buckeyes are still really doing a good job of trying to make plays. Obviously we got the turnovers, but when the second half started, we started to hit Aiden Childs, and it changed the game, and then he reverted back to being that young quarterback again. So the Buckeyes really executed the way that they wanted, and the film really shows that. So everybody knows our offense is good. You guys have seen highlights of the offense doing, crazy things. Jeremiah Smith, like everybody's seen that, both one-handed catches, which were sickening. Shout out to Devin Brown for coming in and throwing that ball in the best possible spot. So as a defensive guy, we're gonna stick with the defense for a little bit. All right. So we'll try to pick this up in the second half. The one thing I will tell you guys, Caleb Downs is really, really good. All right. We are very lucky to have that guy because he is a game changer. So get this pulled up. Let's see. Can you see that, my guy?
Yep, we're good.
All right.
So before you dive in, you spoke of Caleb Downs, and let's rewind to January when we kind of spoke that into existence. So we're just going to go ahead and start planting the seeds because we're going to need to reload on defense. If KJ Bolden could go ahead and enter the portal next year, that would be okay with me. So I think we didn't get Keon Keeley yet, but we are going to start the KJ Bolden to the portal manifestation.
We're going to make it happen.
And let's go ahead and Jordan Seaton. We're going to go ahead and go there too.
Just add them all to the list. Add them all to the list.
No, we got to be realistic.
That's awesome. All right. Trying to get to the second half here. All right, here we go. All right. So we're going to pick this up in the second half. All right. So the Buckeyes, one of the things that, we've been, you've heard it from us a million times is that we want to see the variation of the different fronts. We want to see us doing different things. All right. One thing that Ohio State did starting out this game was we had three linebackers in the game, right? We had Arvell, we had Cody Simon, and we had Sonny. Sonny provides us so much versatility. And so Jeremy and I were just talking about it'd be nice to get, some version of a 5-man front out there. Well, right now, the Buckeyes have a version of a 5-man front. It's just now with Sonny Styles, who's 6'4", 240 pounds. So he could play defensive end. right? Everybody wants us to have a Jack. Well, right now we've got our Jack on the field and it's Sonny. And so, you could already tell to start the second half that the Buckeyes were going to do whatever they could to really, slow down this run game. I think they did a really good job. Now, second half, why am I going to show this play first? It's because of this guy right here, Caleb Downs. All right. Because of the play of Lathan Ransom, we are now in a position that we can really have fun with this kid, right? We can really move him around and do some different things with him. And he is really good as a post safety where he's back deep, but man, he is elite when he's around the football. And this is a perfect example of why, okay? Once he reads it, he quick triggers and he goes, right? There's no hesitation, right? This opens up for him right now, and he's got to make this one-on-one play. And he does, right? Just explosive through the ball. Explosive through the ball. Now, what don't I like about this play to start? Okay, it looks like we have some sort of movement up front by the way that we've got Jack Sawyer moving and Ty Hamilton's moving a little bit. So it looks like we've got some sort of stunt to really try to open this up for Caleb to come down. I would really like to see Arvell Reese really work over top of this block because he could get in on that tackle. But nonetheless, Caleb Downs does a great job fitting in the run game. And to start the half, first play, you get a 1-yard gain, right? Offensive line or defensive line, people can say they weren't that great in this game or the last 2 weeks, but the defensive line did a pretty solid job in the second half. This is a much better view of it. I love this view. Quick trigger, sure tackle, right? And this is for all the young football players out there. I'm going to get on a rant. I don't care. We don't care about big hits as coaches. We don't care. We don't care. Is it nice? Absolutely, it's nice. You know what's even nicer? Sure tackles and getting their butt on the ground, right? So that's one of the things I love about Caleb Downs. He's not going in to knock this kid's block off. He's going in to make a sure tackle, and that's what he does. All right? Gosh, we're lucky to have that dude.
You know what else I really liked on that play, and it's just a little thing, was Sonny Styles' move.
Yeah.
That almost looked like a D-end move.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing too. As I think we progress in this with Jim Knowles, Sonny Styles is the perfect Jack. He's that perfect hybrid. He can be a defensive end, he could be an outside backer, he can be an in the box backer. And I think that's why they keep stressing that he has to be on the field. All right, second play of the series, starting the second half. All right, the Buckeyes are looking like they're playing some sort of cover 2. Okay, my favorite coverage. All right, remember last week we talked about cover 2 means these two corners are going to be sitting down right here in the flats, and we're going to have the safeties deep. Why do you do this? Because you really want to stop the underneath passing game, and you really want to allow these guys to be involved in the run game, and you feel like these two guys can stay over top of anything that goes deep. Okay, now, one of the things that matters when you play some sort of cover 2 is you have to understand your responsibilities. Okay, if we're playing true cover 2, and like we said, I'm not in the film room, so they could have a different coverage. But from my football knowledge, this is a version of cover 2. You would like to see Denzel Burke really work to sit down in the flat. He carries that vertical a little bit too long, and look what comes open, right? Where he probably should have been. Okay, based on where IGB is on this side, I'm guessing Denzel Burke was probably supposed to be sitting down right here. Okay, Jim Knowles likely thought that they were going to try to do some quick pass game stuff like this, and cover 2 is a perfect coverage for it. But, we don't get that. Defense still hustles to the football, and we live to play another down, right? You live to play another down. Good play call by them. Maybe it was a mistake by us, but we rally to the football. We make the tackle. So they picked up a first down. Sometimes offenses, they do that. Okay, now this is when I knew things changed for us in the second half. I want you guys to see this get off right here from Ty Hamilton. All right, everybody says Ty Hamilton is not the same player when Tyleik Williams is on the film. They say our field. When they say Tyleik is on the field, Ty Hamilton is much better. But Ty Hamilton has the ability to do this on a consistent basis, and it's create penetration. right? This guard is trying to do what we call a scoop block, all right? Think of Fritos, right? You know, the Fritos scoops where you scoop them down in the chili, right? He's trying to scoop block right here, okay? So that Hamilton can't go make this play. Well, he didn't scoop him, right? That's a hard block to do when a guy gets off the ball like this. Okay, so he
was beat from the first step.
And this is a quick, violent get off. All right, but the one thing I love about this, and this was my biggest gripe last week with JT, was that he always was trying to get upfield. Is he trying to get upfield here? No. He's anchoring down, making sure that ball stays inside. If it bounces, that outside arm is free, and he's going to be able to make a play. Sonny's doing a good job playing physical right here. Cody Simon's doing a great job working over top of blocks. Jack Sawyer's doing a great job of running flat down the line of scrimmage. This is good defense, right? This is good defense from this front seven. Okay. The other thing I love about this, look who we got down in the box, Lathan Ransom. I mean, we can just interchange these two with the way this guy is playing right now. And it just allows you to be so versatile, and it's so good, right? So we get a first down, but what do? We come back, we get a stop. One of the big things against teams like Iowa who want to run the ball against you, you have to win first down. You've got to keep them in 2nd and 8+. All right. Why? Because that makes their play call sheet, it really condenses it, right? They really have to think, okay, now we're in 2nd and 8. If we only gain 3 yards, now we're in 3rd and 5. We're in a tough spot. We're going to have to throw the ball. So you want to win first down and force these teams who want to run the ball to really have to go to the side of their call sheet that they don't want to go to, and that's throwing the ball. Okay. So when we come out in the second half and we're able to win first down against a team like Michigan State, who had some success in the first half running the ball, this is huge. Watch this one again. I mean, this is a really good job. You know, I wish Ty Malone had a little, better get off here, but for the most part, the defensive line is really solid. Arvell Reese, this is what you want to see from your linebackers. Downhill, trigger, find a way to get to the football. Right? Arvell Reese plays a violent brand of football, and it is fun to watch. All right, so we win first down. Okay, first down, you win first down. It puts you a team like this in 2nd and long, and now it allows us to do a lot of different things. Well, what do we see now with the defensive line? We see a completely different package in the game. We've got Jack, we've got JT on the outside, we've got Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson on the inside. So now we're saying, hey, we're going to go get after this dude. We're going to go get after the quarterback. The other thing I like about this, and this is Jim Knowles' defense right here. You don't know who's coming, right? You got Cody Simon walked up. You got Sonny Styles walked up. You got Caleb Downs walked up. You got Lathan Ransom walked up. Any one of these guys could blitz. So now this guy's got to figure out, okay, where am I going to send this back in pass protection, right? Where can we slide the front? These are things that you have to think about when you have these 4 guys in the box. You don't know who's coming. And guess what? None of them came. None of them blitzed, right? None of them blitzed. And the one thing I love about this, right? Everybody says, well, I've said this. I don't know about everybody. Jim Knowles is notorious for dropping defensive linemen into coverage, and I know people get frustrated with it. But does Caden Curry make this play? No. But because of his positioning, the quarterback can't lead him like he wants to, and it forces Aiden Childs to throw the ball behind the tight end, right? This is a great call. This is a great call by Jim Knowles. I love it.
That's a really good job of Curry by sitting. Like when you say sit, if for somebody that doesn't understand, you're literally dropping your butt and you are sitting in an area.
Yeah, absolutely. And this shows you how much they trust this kid too. You just don't drop random defensive linemen into coverage. You drop people that you can trust. Now, the Buckeyes' favorite coverage so far this year, in my opinion, from what I've seen, has been cover 2 and then a mix of cover 1 as well, which is a man coverage underneath and a free safety deep. And then cover 2, we've talked about it a million times. This all right, is a version of cover 2 as well. All right. Really, it's just cover 3 because we've got 3 guys back. But remember way back when we talked about the emergence of Tampa 2, this is a version of that because we're able to drop Caleb Downs as the middle safety. And now both corners are playing as the outside safety. And you've got Jordan Hancock and you've got Sonny Styles really working to sit down in the flats. And so this is just another variation of cover 3 to really flood the underneath zones. They've got 5 people to flood the underneath zones, and we got 3 deep. All right. So this is a really good job of giving the coverages that we want to see, but providing different looks. Okay. This is a really good job, really good rep. We're able to get them in a situation where it's 3rd and long. Okay. 3rd and 14. Now it's time to go get after the quarterback. What can we do? What can we do? We get good pressure. All right. We get bailed out with a hold, I believe. Okay. Aiden Childs, when you got a running quarterback, these are things that can happen. But I love the blitz that we dialed up. I love the stunt that we had up front. We just got to find a way to make this play. We just got to find a way to make this play.
Now on that one is some of the his ability to break contain because we were playing man and you don't always account for the quarterback in that scenario.
Okay, that's a great question. So we are playing, it looks like we're playing cover 1 right now based on what Latham Ransom dropping and these guys playing off and just running with their guy wherever they go, right? Jordan Hancock's manned on the tight end. So we're definitely playing cover 1. And so when you do this, you're really working to sell out. But what I see, all right, with this extra blitzer that we have in Caleb Downs, if you watch Sonny, he's really working to get back to the middle of the field. Okay, he's really working to get back over top. Now, that leads me to believe that he may have been told that he's the spy, or they just said, hey, we're going to lock everybody up and this pressure is going to hit home. Sometimes you take chances like that.
For sure.
Sometimes you take chances like that. And Jim Knowles is a riverboat gambler, and that's something that he may have done. Okay, but, you know, we get bailed out, holding call, good pressure. Aiden Childs was able to make a play. It's a good job by him. I love this view of it. Really does a good job of showing the variations of things that we can do. And you could see Caleb Downs get held right there. All right, Caleb Downs was likely going to make this play.
Yeah, he had him dead to rights.
Yeah. So that's pretty, I mean, that's fun. That's fun stuff. That's fun stuff. That's when you get in those situations, you're able to do those fun things that Jim Knowles likes to do. Now, this was a really good job. They're trying to set up a screen, I believe. Yes, they're trying to set up a screen. You can see these offensive linemen work to release. Okay, you can see these offensive linemen work to release, and they're trying to set up a screen. I think it's a little bit of a miscommunication. All right, but the pressure really got to them there, and that caused some issues. I thought Cody Simon came up with the pick there, but, you know, didn't happen. Either way, we got to stop. Time to get off the field. So coming out in the second half to go out and get that stop was huge. Now, I want you guys to take a look at this front, and then I'll shut up. What do we have on the field? We've got one defensive lineman. We got 2 defensive linemen. We got 3 defensive linemen. We got 4 defensive linemen. We've got 5 defensive linemen on the field right now. This is a front that I do think that we will see against Iowa. Why do you do this? Because we want to work to cover everybody up and allow the linebackers and Caleb Downs to go run free and make play after play after play. Now, this was just a good play by them. Good when you're one-on-one on the outside. Denzel Burke did a great job. Our pressure got there just a second late. Denzel Burke does a great job, though, breaking down. Guy just makes a great catch. Sometimes good defense faces better offense. All right, to come out and get a first down, how are we going to respond to that? We'll watch a couple more plays here. How are we going to respond to that? Would love to see JT not go flying upfield like this. I would love to see him anchor down. He just takes himself out of the play when he does that. But Jack Sawyer makes a great play here. Works over top, makes a play. Here I am nitpicking, and they get 3 yards. This is because I know JT is a absolute monster in the run game when he wants to be. Now this, I don't know what Aiden Childs was thinking here. This was not open. I don't know where he was going with the rock, but this was not good. But I love the fact, JT got good pressure. He felt Jack Sawyer from behind, forced an overthrow. Defense is able to get a turnover. At the time, I think it was their third one of the game. Excuse me. And so when we're able to
classic don't throw against your body.
Yeah, absolutely. And so these are the things that you want to see from our defense. All right, I want to try to find JT's sack. Actually, this will be a good one right here, I believe, from Mitchell Melton.
He's a big dude.
He is a big dude. He is a big dude. Yes, this was a good play. We'll end on this one. This is a good play by Mitchell Melton. The one thing why I want to end on this one, because I'm just so happy for Mitchell Melton, right? He's just battled injury after injury, but he's relentless. He doesn't give up on the play. He keeps fighting. He keeps fighting. He does a great job. The other thing I love about this is the coverage as well. The coverage as well. Let's go back to the other view and look at the coverage. Okay, it looks like we're going to be in some variation of cover 2 again. Yes, we are. Great job underneath by the linebackers, taking away all the underneath stuff, right? If they throw it here, we'll rally to it. That's perfectly fine. Defensive line was relentless in getting to the football, and that's what we want to see. So there's a lot of good things that the Buckeyes did last week. We want to see that continue this week. Obviously, we've got to stop the run. But everybody, the defense is fine. The defense is good. We make halftime adjustments. We go out and we make plays, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like we said, there might be some plays in the first half that go for more yards than we would like to see. But at the end of the day, it's going to be okay. It will be, you may see you're going to see things that we haven't seen all year because Iowa is going to attack us like nobody else has.
Yeah.
And offensively, you're going to see Chip continue to throw stuff out there to put on tape.
Yep.
We have said it numerous times. Yes, we have to get through Iowa, but next week is the most important game on the schedule. Let's be honest. Team up north aside, even, this is a massive game we're heading toward next week.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm excited. I think it's always fun playing Iowa because you do see new things. The gray unis, home 3:30 game should be good.
Yeah, definitely be a good one, man. And I'm excited. I always love playing against Iowa. It's going to be a physical game. And I still always want to get some revenge for the way they beat up on us a few years ago under Urban. God, that was day.
Brutal.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put that one. That one, man, that one sucked.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy that you don't see with Ryan Day. We'll throw this out here to end on. Urban Meyer had a habit of losing games he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Ryan Day wins the games that he should. But then you could kind of argue that a couple of the team up north games we should have won. We were the better team. But I don't know that though. You had the one year where they were so senior laden and we were so young.
Yeah.
They probably should have won. Last year they lost how many dudes to the draft? Again. So it is what it is, and that's obviously a discussion for another day. But beat Iowa, go Buckeyes. I can't even say go Cal Bears because I know they're not going to beat Miami. Washington and Michigan though, that could be a game. Keep an eye on that one.
Yep.
Michigan is now an underdog in that game.
Wow.
Will they finally throw for 100 yards? Man, to be determined. But with that said, like we said, go Buckeyes, go Braves tomorrow night.
Yep.
Let's see what the defense can do against the wing T.
Yeah, man, we're excited.
All right. Well, with that, we will get out of here, and we will see you guys we'll probably record Sunday night for. We're changing it up a little bit. The opening drive
There we
be
go.
your weekly episode now.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of news, but only those that listen to this episode are going to know that ahead of time. So we will see you guys then.